Good morning, fellow model railroaders, steel mill modelers. This morning I am making scrap piles or crushed car piles for my shredder. And I'm also going to probably rebuild most of the scrap shredder I have now. The scrap feeder apron I'm going to leave, but I'm going to rebuild everything else because it just, no, it's not doing it for me. So I wanted to take some time and glue all these cars into big piles so they'll be ready for when I do rebuild it. These cars are resin copies of Juweela porcelain models. You can go online and look up Juweela and you can find these sets of cars. They are made out of porcelain. You can get either the set of 6 or the set of 12. I highly recommend these crushed cars because you can't even make them. You know, they're really hard to make, and Juweela did a great job making them. And I think there's probably about 8 different models of cars, but they're made in a way where you can flip them and turn them different ways to make them look like, you know, a different kind of car. So I casted these in resin, gosh, like last year sometime. And, you know, with the thought of making these here piles for around my scrap shredder. So today I'm just making piles of these crushed cars. I started off with 11 down below, and I'll show you how I make them. I made a mold of, I think, 8 cars. I could just resin cast 8 cars at a time, and I came up with a few hundred of these cars, which are great. I think it's the most economical way to make big piles of scrap crushed cars, because if you spend like, I think it's like 15-20 bucks for 6 of these porcelain cars, you're going to spend a nice fortune on them. So without further ado, here we go. This is my Arrow hot glue gun. This thing is still going. This thing is probably about 13 years old, and I use it quite often. You can see it's beat all the heck. These things are great. So all I do is just put a nice big dab of goop hot glue and glue them right in between the cars. That way they'll be nice and connected. And we'll just go right down the line. And with a little bit of extra painting, a little extra work, these will be quite nice. They definitely look the look because they are crushed cars. Try to alternate the cars, so I don't want too many of the same color in one spot. It just looks kind of goofy, I guess. And it doesn't take long to make these cars, not at all. I mean, you can pump a bunch of these cars out real quick, and they stack up even faster. See how I'm staggering the joints here? That's all you got to do. Quite enjoyable part of the hobby. Yeah, I've finally gotten resin casting down. You can make multiple copies. I should probably this winter, I'm gonna start getting into 3D printing. That's the plan, at least. We'll see how that goes. Because I got a bunch of stuff that I could be 3D printing and then resin casting. Mostly steel mill stuff. Got a couple of really cool ideas for mow equipment. See if I can pull that off this winter. When it gets cool enough to work, it's just still too hot. And you see it doesn't take long to build up a nice pile of cars. And that is basically it. I had more to go. And I'll probably wind up making maybe 3 piles of cars. I want to keep some loose for forklifts and heavy equipment to be handling. But, you know, this is mostly backdrop type stuff. And I searched and searched and searched for crushed cars and HO and finally came across this Juweela company. I got mine from a guy in Australia. I don't know if we have them in North America yet. Be nice to find a vendor that did carry them. That would be cool. Because these are really, really neat. And they definitely, most certainly, look the part. Reload. Reloaded. Ha 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 ha. You know, I've used this hot glue gun for so many projects in model railroading. I really like hot glue. As long as the temperature is good and you have a very good application where you don't want something to come apart and you can get away with it, hot glue is the way to go. Alright, that is about done with this pile. Kind of fidgety. Here we go, maybe that'll hold. And then I'll go back and pick all the little fine hairs off of it. It's not really hair, it's just where the hot glue stretched. And then I'll touch up paint on certain cars. But that is about it. And when you get done, you will come out with something like this right here. A very impressive pile of crushed cars, ready to be shredded and turned into fist-sized chunks for the EAF. So that, boys and girls, is the plan, and that's how you do it. I highly recommend checking out Juweela if you would like some crushed cars. You could take 6 or 12 of them and put them in a small scrapyard and get away, you know, with calling it a scrapyard. Me, I'm on a much larger scale of a scrapyard. You'll see when I actually get out there and start building my layout again what I'm talking about. I mean, a massive car crushing apparatus. Yes, that's the plan at least. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm out. Bye.